Many people don't understand Kawaki and hate him precisely because of that. However, he is one of the deepest and darkest characters in the Boruto storyline. He is not simply a hero or a villain. He is the embodiment of pain, loss, and complete distrust of the world. His philosophy is the desperate cry of a person who has lost faith in goodness. For Kawaki, goodness is weakness that leads to death. He believes that good people don't live long. This thought has become the foundation of all his decisions and actions, and its roots stretch back to his childhood, to that very darkness where his path began. His philosophy is born from pain, from that same dull and relentless pain that shapes a person long before conscious decisions are even made. Kawaki is a child who did everything he could to earn even the slightest drop of love. He chopped wood and sold it to buy his father strong drinks with the money he earned. Why? Because only then would his father show him affection and allow him to eat. He tried to be useful, to be needed. He believed that if he could just be a good son, everything would change. But every time, in return, he received nothing but beatings, hunger, and the darkness of the storage closet where he was locked up like an animal. He believed that maybe next time, his father would love him, but that never happened. The one Kawaki loved and saw his family sold him, calling him useless. This shattered his psyche, and he began to feel emptiness, coming to see kindness as weakness. The image of the father for Kawaki was already made up of pain, and the message, earn love or you are nothing. And now, betrayal. He was bought by Jigen, who became his new father figure, and Jigen only reinforced the trauma planted by his real father. Kawaki was told that he was unwanted, that he was nothing but an empty vessel. His body was subjected to cruel experiments. He was beaten for the slightest disobedience. And that's when a new philosophy began to form within him. The world is a cage. People are either beasts or victims. These events allow for a psychological analysis of Kawaki and how his traumas were formed. First, early trauma, love through pain. Form of trauma, violence and neglect from the parent. Kawaki internalized the belief that love is something to be earned through suffering. He is conditionally accepted. If I am useful, if I bring strong drinks, if I obey, then I won't be beaten, then I can eat, and then I am loved. This model creates a toxic mindset. My value is my usefulness. I am not worthy of love as I am. If I lose my value, I will be discarded. As a result, he develops anxious attachment, clinging to any scraps of recognition and fearing rejection. Second, betrayal by the father, collapse of basic trust, form of trauma, existential betrayal. The one he loved called him worthless. From that moment on, he no longer believed that anyone could ever truly love him. A child builds their self through their parent. And if the one you saw as your whole world calls you nothing, you absorb that into your identity. You are nothing. You are empty. Kawaki stops trusting love because love is pain. Closeness is a threat. Family is a lie. As a result, Kawaki loses the ability to understand his own emotions. It's hard for him to even name what he feels. It's as if he disconnects from his feelings to avoid suffering. Inside, there is a void he himself can't explain. He tries to control everything because he's afraid of losing any sense of stability. Third, the new father figure, Jigen, cements violence in his life. Form of trauma, repetition of abuse in a new form. Kawaki ends up with Jigen, who reinforces the model. You are no one. You are a vessel. You are not human. You are a project. Either you obey or you die. This trauma is especially destructive because it confirms the first one. He doesn't find salvation. On the contrary, his pain is legitimized. As a result, Kawaki stops believing that he can change anything himself. He feels helpless. He develops anger towards weakness because weakness makes one vulnerable. He begins to think that kindness only brings pain, but cruelty, that's what helps you survive. Against the backdrop of these traumas, a worldview is born in which he is not a subject, but a function. He's not a person, but a tool for survival. The world is a cage. People are either beasts or victims. This philosophy is built on several deep beliefs. There is no unconditional love, only transactions. No one will love you for nothing. Everything is merchandise, even feelings. Weakness is a crime, because it was precisely kindness that made him vulnerable. To survive, you must become a predator. He doesn't want to be a victim anymore. He wants control. He lives by the laws of the cage he was locked in as a child. Later in his life, other psychological events occur that also influence him, but they begin to challenge his ingrained beliefs. The seventh Hokage appears in his life. Kawaki sees Naruto as a naive, weak fool who can't possibly understand his pain. To him, Naruto is just another adult pretending to be kind, but in reality dangerous. He is ready to run away and doesn't believe a single word. After all, his entire life he was beaten for the slightest mistake, and now someone is offering him to just live? It seems like a trap. Psychologically, this is a defensive reaction. If I believe, I'll be betrayed again. Better to strike first. However, they go to the Hokage's home together, where Kawaki realizes this is a perfect opportunity to escape. But no matter how hard he tries, Naruto is always one step ahead. He doesn't get angry. He acts like they're playing tag. The Hokage doesn't threaten him or beat him. He just asks, "Calm down," showing that he's willing to play this game as long as it takes. For a traumatized child, such behavior is unnatural, especially compared to Jigen, who who would have punished him severely for the same actions. But even so, Kawaki still doesn't trust, and in the house, he flips the table and tries to run away. But Naruto activates his mode, which terrifies the boy. He thinks the Hokage is even stronger than Jigen. But Naruto doesn't attack, doesn't use his power the way Kawaki's father or Jigen would have. He simply says that Kawaki has the right to leave, but that he will follow him to learn about his past. The Hokage swears he won't hurt him. Even after such actions, Kawaki isn't beaten. The Hokage doesn't punish him. He listens. When Kawaki throws tantrums, breaks things, Naruto doesn't yell or hit him. He doesn't play power games. He reacts calmly and shows he is not dangerous. For Kawaki, this is shocking. He's expecting a blow, but it never comes. This shatters the familiar model where adults are always a threat. Later, Kawaki watches how Naruto behaves with his children, how gently he talks to Himawari, how patiently he handles Boruto's outbursts. Boruto scolds Kawaki over a broken vase. The shards take us back to one of Kawaki's childhood traumas, when Jigen was chasing him and smashed the fish tank of the fish he loved. At that moment, Kawaki began to build a shield of anger and hatred, and now, for the first time, it cracked, all because of Hima, who doesn't get angry but simply tries to gather the shards of the vase. This was the first crack in his psychological defense. That's when Kawaki admitted he was at fault. Over time, that vase became the symbol of his shattered soul, but one that Naruto is patiently piecing back together with kindness. For the first time, he admits guilt. It's a small but crucial step toward the realization, I don't have to defend myself from everyone. Here, his belief that kindness is weakness begins to crumble, and a new idea emerges. Being honest means being part of something. But Kawaki still didn't want to trust the Hokage because of his principles and the fear of being betrayed again. He was convinced that the village just wanted to use him to get information about Kara, and that the Hokage was merely playing the role of a nice guy. But Naruto didn't demand anything in return. He simply showed care without orders, without pressure. He didn't even scold him when Kawaki attacked a child just for bumping into him by accident. And when Kawaki saw a vase in the store, he remembered the pain of the experiments, which triggered a panic attack. But Naruto simply hugged him, the first real hug of his life. He was used to pain, but he had never felt warmth. This was an emotional shift. He doesn't want to break me. He's just there. It's the moment when Kawaki starts to feel that maybe he can be loved just for who he is, not for what he can do. The boy's soul began to heal, and when Delta came after him, he sacrificed himself to protect Hima and lost his arm. He loses his arm, but for the first time he makes a choice of his own free will, because someone genuinely cares about his life, and Naruto was grateful, as was his entire family. Kawaki received a prosthetic arm from the Hokage, and that arm was powered by Naruto's own chakra. No one demanded anything in return from Kawaki. On the contrary, they thanked him for his kindness and for saving lives. They did what his real father never did. Kawaki felt, I did something important, and they didn't abandon me. But when the boy finally fixed the vase, it leaked. Its symbolism, the soul being pieced back together. When the vase is whole but still leaking, it's a metaphor. I'm healing, but inside, there's still pain. Only after Kurama told him about Naruto's past did Kawaki realize that the Hokage, too, had gone through loneliness and rejection. But Naruto didn't become cruel. He chose to remain kind. This shattered Kawaki's core philosophy. Kindness always loses. Now he sees, sometimes kindness is the strongest force. It saves. Naruto became his first real father. He didn't just give Kawaki a roof and food. He gave him trust, warmth, and a sense of belonging. This is what began to shape Kawaki's new personality, new philosophy, and new meaning in life. But fear returned with Jigen. When Naruto disappeared, Kawaki's arm stopped working, and that was the symbol. My father is dead. My light is gone. Once again, the fear of loss, the fear of being alone took over. He was ready to do anything to preserve this new world, because now he had something to lose. He became convinced that his original philosophy was right. Kindness always becomes the victim of evil. In Kawaki's eyes, Naruto became weak, especially after losing Kurama, which meant Naruto needed to be saved, otherwise everything would fall apart. And so began a new cycle of inner struggle, between what Jigen had taught him and what Naruto had given him. When Kawaki regained his power, he made the decision to kill his own brother. Boruto, to him, is family, but Kawaki could no longer control the Otsutsuki inside him. Even Boruto agreed with this. Kawaki killed his brother to save Naruto, because the Hokage was the center of his world. Without him, there was nothing. And even in that moment, Naruto wasn't angry. He understood everything and couldn't turn away from Kawaki. But for Kawaki, this kindness had already become a weakness that needed to be protected. From this was born Kawaki's philosophy. I will destroy any threat, even if it's Boruto, even if it's me. He's not a villain. He's a soldier of his own pain. His kindness is to strike first. He does it because he fears losing Naruto again. For Kawaki, Naruto is the center of everything. Without him, life has no meaning. The decision to eliminate all Otsutsuki is the point of no return. When he finds out that Boruto survived, he realizes, I can't stop now. Everything must end forever. He returns home and plainly says, I will kill him. I will kill them all. But Naruto is against it because he can't support the murder of his son. And Kawaki knows this. He knows that the Hokage will understand but never approve. That's when Hinata intervenes intervenes and slaps him. But this isn't humiliation. It's the only thing Kawaki considers fair. He accepts it as the price of his choice. Locking his family in a dimension, it's love through cruelty. He knows that Naruto will never agree with his plan. He knows that Hinata will hate him, but he does it anyway. He doesn't kill them. He doesn't betray them. He locks them away in eternal safety. He isolates love to protect it from the world. This is Kawaki's paradox. I inflict pain to protect. I become a monster to preserve goodness. Psychologically, it's the peak of self-sacrifice mixed with madness. He no longer believes he can be happy. He sacrifices himself so that others can live. But Kawaki couldn't finish off Boruto, and now he had to flee from everyone, from the village, from friends, from himself. He became an outcast, an enemy of the entire world. At that moment, Ada reached out her hand to him, a girl whose love he doesn't even notice because of his pain. Consumed by fear, despair, and the desire to fix everything, Kawaki expressed the wish to switch places with Boruto. This was an escape from guilt. Kawaki doesn't ask for everyone to love him. He just wants to disappear. He doesn't seek glory. He wants to erase his guilt, to run from pain, to become someone who has the right to stand beside Naruto. But when reality changes, he feels no relief. He hates himself even more. He won't allow Himawari to call him brother because he doesn't feel he deserves it. He lives in a lie and understands he did it out of weakness. Kawaki's final choice, become a monster for the sake of goodness. Now the whole world sees him as a hero, but he himself feels like a monster, and he accepts it. Let them hate, let them fear. The most important thing is that Naruto lives, that this light doesn't disappear. This is the peak of his philosophy. Kindness doesn't survive in this world. To keep it alive, someone must become the beast, and I am the one who will become that beast. In the Naruto anime, we've seen a character like this before. It's Itachi. Kawaki is similar to him. Both are heroes who chose hatred for the sake of love. Itachi killed his entire clan, including his father and mother, to prevent civil war and save the village. Kawaki killed Boruto, whom he called brother, and is ready to destroy everyone to stop the awakening of the Otsutsuki and to save Naruto and the entire shinobi world. Both knew their actions would be seen as betrayal, but both did it consciously because they chose not goodness, but the result. Their philosophy, goodness through self-sacrifice. Both understood. In the real world, sometimes you can't save everyone. You have to choose the lesser evil and carry it alone. Their philosophy, if someone has to be the monster, let it be me. Neither explains their actions, so as not to break the effect. Why is Kawaki's philosophy terrifying but logical? In the shinobi world, everything Kawaki says is confirmed. Isshiki came because he was given a chance. Momoshiki took over Boruto's body because the host wasn't destroyed. Orochimaru destroyed countless people in his quest to give immortality to his loved ones. Madara plunged the world into eternal sleep to save everyone from pain. Disasters happen because of kindness, not cruelty. To protect the kind, become the monster, but a controlled monster. Kawaki became the shadow to preserve the light. He is a tragic hero, not for power, not for revenge. He became a monster for the sake of the one who once saved his soul. He sees no future for himself except one. When it's all over, let Naruto kill me. This is his way of atoning for his guilt. These psychological traumas and the philosophy born from them turn Kawaki's thinking into chaos, into a worldview that prevents him from choosing the truth, because he never had the chance to see it. Unfortunately, he spent too little time with Naruto, and Naruto didn't have the opportunity to show him how to properly fight for loved ones. Kawaki's philosophy will lead him to make many more wrong choices, which will only highlight his psychological traumas, and the following storyline, led by Boruto, will become the beacon that tries to pull him out of fear and show him the right path. Thanks to the storyline, the character evolves, so calling him bad without reason is incorrect. But now you have a choice. You know the psychology behind his actions and can make a reasonable judgment. I hope you enjoyed this psychological analysis of Kawaki, and that you'll write in the comments who else you'd like me to cover in a video like this. And finally, I want you to write in the comments how else Kawaki and Itachi are similar, and what makes them so different, what choice makes them opposites. It will be interesting to read your thoughts. For now, good luck to everyone.